Hello Tangam, welcome to Gully Classroom. This is the complete English lecture, third English lecture on the topic Lifelines of National Economy, CBSE 10th Standard Geography Chapter 7, Lifelines of National Economy, and this is the third lecture. In this third lecture we are going to study about waterways and airways. Okay, so in waterways we are going to study under three major subheadings. What are the major subheadings with respect to waterways, sir? The major subheadings are, the first topic is, we will study as usual the importance of waterways. What next, sir? We will study about the significance of inland waterways. How are waterways inside India helping us to travel within India? What about the third thing, sir? We will study about the different ports in India and how are they helping us in export and importing a lot of content from other countries. How are ports helping us in trading with other countries? Okay, first let us look at the importance of waterways. Waterways is one of the cheapest means of transport. Why, sir? Obviously, you have studied in 9th the topic buoyancy. What is buoyancy? Water pushes anything up. So, when you are traveling on water, water itself is pushing us up, and this helps to reduce the consumption of fuel. So, waterways travel becomes automatically fuel efficient, and there is very less exhaust, there is very less pollution that is happening due to waterways. Hence, it is comparatively environmentally friendly. Waterways is comparatively environmentally friendly, and that is not just a single thing. The next thing is, waterways gives ease for carrying a lot of bulky goods over long distances. In fact, 95% of the total trade in our country is happening through waterways. Sir, by which criteria? By the criteria of volume. 95% by volume. Our country's trade, India's trade is happening through waterways. Sir, what about with respect to value? With respect to value, how much trade is happening? With respect to value, 65% of our trade is happening with respect to waterways. In inland waterways, inside India, there are around 14,500 kilometers of navigation available, but in this we are using around 1/3, 5,600 kilometers of inland navigation can be used with motorized transport, can be used with motorized boats, can be used with motorized transport. What next? So this is the significance of waterways. Waterways is cheap, suitable for carrying heavy and bulky goods, fuel efficient, environmentally friendly. 95% of our trade by volume is done with the help of waterways. Okay, sir, in India, are they classifying different waterways by categories? Are they giving names to the waterways? Yes, waterways in India have very specific name. What is the name? Indian government is classifying waterways as National Waterways, NW. So, what is National Waterway 1, sir? National Waterway 1 is in between Allahabad and Haldia. I am repeating myself. Allahabad and Haldia. So, in between them, we have the Ganga river. In between them, we have the Ganga river of 1620 kilometers. What about National Waterway 2, sir? National Waterway 2 is between Sadia and Dhubri. So, between Sadia and Dhubri, we have the Brahmaputra river, 891 kilometers, which is carrying us. Okay, what about National Waterway 3, sir? National Waterway 3 is present in Kerala. It is simply called as West Coast Canal in Kerala. And very specific stretches of Godavari and Krishna are termed as National Waterway 4. Very specific stretches of Godavari and Krishna are termed as National Waterway 4. These are the important things that you need to learn with respect to inland transportation, inland water transportation in India. Okay, sir, what about ports? How are we doing trading with other countries? Obviously, we are doing so much trade. Export is happening, import is happening. How are sea ports helping them? Come, we will look at it. India has a very long coastline, around 7,500 kilometers approx. 7,500 kilometers approx. We have 12 major ports, and obviously 95% of Indian trade by volume is happening through these ports. Right. So first we will start from our which side? We will start from our west side and slowly move towards our east side of the country, looking at each and every consecutive port. First we have Kandla. Kandla port was the first port to be developed immediately after independence. So why did they choose Kandla port for development? In order to reduce congestion at Mumbai port. So they wanted to reduce congestion at Mumbai port. So they developed Kandla port immediately after independence. It is a tidal port and it helps in convenient handling of exports and imports from the rich hinterland of... Sir, one second. Yeah, tell me. What is the meaning of rich hinterland? A region away from the shoreline which is providing a lot of content, which is providing a lot of materials for export and import is called as rich hinterland. So, rich hinterland of... So, our Kandla port is a tidal port which is conveniently handling a lot of exports and imports, which is provided by the rich hinterland. Of where, sir? Where is the rich hinterland present? The agricultural and the industrial areas of Punjab, Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir and Rajasthan. They are providing a lot of material both for export and import. Okay, sir, what about our Mumbai port? Mumbai port is the biggest port in terms of trade volume in India. With respect to trade volume, Mumbai is doing the maximum export and the maximum import. Okay, so Mumbai is the largest port. It is a spacious, natural and a well-sheltered port. It has a lot of space and it has a lot of shelter for ships to be placed inside them. So spacious, natural and well-sheltered harbour is present in Mumbai. Okay, Mumbai port, in order to decongest Mumbai port, what did they do? They built Kandla port, but that was not enough. They even built another port called as Jawaharlal Nehru port. Jawaharlal Nehru port, where is Jawaharlal Nehru port present? Jawaharlal Nehru port is present in New Mumbai or Navi Mumbai. So, to decongest Mumbai port, they built Kandla as well as Jawaharlal Nehru port in New Mumbai. Sir, what about Mormugao port? Mormugao port present in Goa is a premier iron ore exporting port. In fact, 50% of our complete iron ores, half of whatever iron ores we are exporting is done at Mormugao in Goa. Sir, what about New Mangalore? New Mangalore is also a port that is concentrating on exporting iron ore. In fact, from the Kudremukh mines, we are getting a lot of iron ore concentrates. These iron ore concentrates are exported from New Mangalore port present in Karnataka. What about the southern? Extreme southern western port, southwestern port, the bottom port in the western side? We have Kochi. Kochi is a natural harbour which is present in the opening of a lagoon. Sir, what is a lagoon? Sometimes land structure is like this. So this kind of a land structure allows water to come inside. The port is constructed right here. This structure is called as a lagoon, and this gives a lot of space for placing the ships. This gives a lot of space for maneuvering the ships, for handling more volume of trade, more volume of transport. Right. So that is your Kochi port. It is a natural harbour which is present in the lagoon, the entrance of a lagoon. Okay, let us go for so we have completed all the ports that are present in our which side? Western side. Let us go for eastern side. Towards the eastern side, we are having the southeastern port. Extreme southeastern port is Tuticorin in Tamil Nadu, and Tuticorin has a very high rich hinterland, using which it is trading a lot of material, trading a lot of goods with other countries like Sri Lanka and Maldives, and also Tuticorin is doing a lot of business with the other coasts of India, other ports of India. And Tuticorin is a natural harbor. Tuticorin has a natural harbor. Okay, so what about Chennai? In Chennai, okay, it is a oldest artificial port. So Chennai is the oldest one of the oldest artificial ports, and in Chennai, the volume of the material traded is second next only to Mumbai. In Chennai, the volume of the how much trade is happening there is second only next to Bombay. Only next to Bombay. So Chennai is a very large port that rivals Bombay in its trade volume. That rivals Bombay in its trade volume. So what about Visakhapatnam? Visakhapatnam is a landlocked. So it is surrounded by land on all sides. Deepest, landlocked and a well protected port which was originally built for exporting a lot of iron ores. In order to export iron ores, they built Visakhapatnam. In order to export iron ores, they built Visakhapatnam. What about Paradweep, sir? So Paradweep is present in Odisha, and it is also we are using Paradweep for exporting iron ores. For exporting iron ores. Okay, let us now go for the port of Kolkata. Port of Kolkata is an inland riverine port. What is inland riverine port? The port is present on a river. In this case, Kolkata port is present on Hooghly. So the ships will go on to Hooghly, then enter into the ocean and move to the other places. So the port is not directly opening to any sea or ocean. The port is inland and riverine. It is present inland on a river. So inland riverine port is Kolkata. Kolkata handles a lot of trade from Ganga Brahmaputra basin. Ganga Brahmaputra, the fertile regions of Ganga and Brahmaputra are having a very rich hinterland. So they are providing a lot of goods for trade for Kolkata port, and Kolkata port is handling heavy volume. So in order to decongest to Kolkata port, they are opening another port, a subsidiary port for Kolkata, which is called as Haldia. So Haldia is a port that was opened in order to reduce, to decongest Kolkata port. Right, sir. So these are the major ports. These are the major ports. Yeah, another point with respect to Kolkata port. Kolkata port is a tidal port. What is a tidal port? Tidal port means it handles a lot of crashing waves. A lot of tides come into the port. Because of that, what do tides carry? Tides, waves. Tides means large waves. As simple as that. Tides means large waves. Large waves carry a lot of sand. So a lot of sand always gets accumulated in the Kolkata port. Because of this, you need to do constant dredging. What is dredging, sir? Dredging is the process of removing a sand from the port. Dredging is the process of removing accumulated sand in a port. Like comb kana, there will be a mechanical system like a comb. Using that, you will be simply removing all the sand that got accumulated because of tides in Kolkata port. In Kolkata port. Yeah, how to remember ports, sir? Can I separately remember ports that are associated with iron ore? Half of iron ore exports in India is done in Marmugao port. Kudremukh mine, iron ore concentrates are handled in New Mangalore port. What else? Visakhapatnam, it was originally conceived for iron ore exports. Paradweep, also it is used for iron ore exports. Give importance to Bombay and Kandla. Kandla, describe the functions of Kandla port. This is a repeated board question. What else you can study here? Also study about Chennai and Kolkata. This is how you will remember to study the ports. This is how you will remember to study the ports. Right. What next? Yeah, that's the end of waterways. We are next going for airways. In airways also, you can study under 3 subtopics. What are the subtopics? The first topic is obviously importance of airways. The second topic is a repeated board question. What is the second topic, sir? Why is airways significant in northeastern India? Why is airways significant in northeastern India? What is the importance of airways in northeastern India? Finally, we will study about what is the status of airways. What is the status of airways in India in the current scenario? Right. First, let us look at the importance of airways. Airways is simply the fastest. It is going to be very fast, and what next? It is the most comfortable. You are going to have the most comfortable journey in Airways, and finally the most prestigious. Airways is the fastest, comfortable and prestigious mode of transport available in India. And also, what is the advantage of Airways? The advantage of Airways is it can be used to move over a lot of difficult terrains. And what are difficult terrains? High mountains, deserts, very large deserts, dense forests, and large stretches of water, very large stretches of water. You can use Airways to go through, to travel through these particular difficult terrains. So Airways is the fastest, comfortable and prestigious mode of transport that can be used for traveling through difficult terrains like dense forest, high mountains, forests and vast stretches of water. What next, sir? Sir, you told me that Airways play a significant role in Northeast India. Can I get to know why? Yeah, let us look at it. Northeastern India has a lot of dissected relief, so they have a lot of broken mountain passes. They do not have a well developed railway system or a road system. They have dense forest. They have a lot of rivers, big rivers, and because of that they have frequent flooding. They have a lot of big rivers, and because of that they have frequent flooding. And because of these reasons, dissected relief, dense forest, large rivers, big rivers and frequent floods, which is not well developed. Roads and railways are not well developed. So land journey is tiresome and time consuming. So air journey is preferred in Northeast India. In order to accommodate travel of common people in Northern India, our government is providing a lot of special provisions to common people and providing cheaper rates for air travel in Northeast India. Cheaper rates of air travel in Northeast India. Right. That is the importance of Airways with respect to Northeast India. Sir, what about air transport? Air transport. With respect to air transport in India, it was nationalized in the year 1953. Indian Airlines and Alliance Air are providing private airlines for domestic purposes. Within India, if you want to travel, you can take private airlines from Indian Airlines or Alliance Air. They provide both scheduled and non-scheduled services. Sir, what is the meaning of scheduled and non-scheduled services? If a service is always happening per schedule, for example, let us say there is a flight from Chennai to Delhi. There is a flight from Chennai to Delhi on every week Wednesday. That is a scheduled flight. A non-scheduled flight happens when and there is a need. If you want an immediate need for air travel, then you can book non-scheduled air services. Air India is providing international air services, and Pavan Hans Helicopters is providing helicopter services. It is a helicopter company, Pavan Hans Helicopter. Obviously, it is going to provide helicopter services. For whom is it providing helicopter services? For ONGC. What is ONGC? Oil and Natural Gas Company, for its offshore operations, and it is also providing a lot of helicopters where for inaccessible regions such as Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. Finally, we will look at the major airports in India. What are the major airports in India? Meenambakam is an important major airport. The Chennai airport is called as Meenambakam. Okay, what is the other southernmost international airport, sir? Thiruvananthapuram is an international airport. Sir, what is the difference between an international airport and some other airports? An international airport simply has flights to other countries. So, flights to other countries can be got at Thiruvananthapuram and Meenambakam. What else, sir? The Bombay airport is called as Chhatrapati Shivaji Airport. What else? The Kolkata airport is called as Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Airport. Airport. What about the Delhi Airport, sir? Does the Delhi Airport have any specific names? The Delhi Airport is called as Indira Gandhi International Airport. So the Delhi Airport is called as Indira Gandhi International. And finally, the Amritsar Airport. The Amritsar Airport is called as Raja Sansi Airport. The Amritsar Airport is called as Raja Sansi Airport. Okay, Tanga, I hope you enjoyed this completely English lecture. Hope I did not bore you with my subject. Yeah, so if you like the subject, if you like my teachings, kindly share it with your friends. Give me likes, comments. It is keeping me pepped up and encouraged. Yeah, best wishes, study well. Thank you, Tangam. Thank you. Cheers, cheers, cheers.